By the end of this video, you're going to know everything that you need to understand about how to build apps using Lovable. Lovable is an AI app builder that allows you to build web applications without knowing how to write any code because it writes the code for you. So you just have to understand how to write the prompts, how to ask it to debug issues as you come up with them. And I'm going to tell you in this video some tips and tricks about how to do all of that as effectively as possible, how to add a backend database so that you can actually host your app for others to use, and you can actually save data to their accounts. So the project that we're going to build in this video is a recipe tracker app. So users are going to be able to log in, track their recipes, and maybe we're going to add some more fun features by the end. So be sure to stick around all the way until the end of the video to see everything that Lovable is capable of, and also so that you feel comfortable building your own apps yourself using AI tools like Lovable. So the first thing to do is we're going to ask Lovable to build our product. So we want to start by giving a description. Usually the more detailed, the better, just so that it knows exactly what we want. But it's also going to add details that it thinks is going to be helpful as well. So let's say I want to create a recipe tracking app. Users should be able to log in and save their own recipes. I want recipes to be categorized. Each recipe should have an image along with other recipe details. And let's start with that. And why don't we also say, I want the design to be modern, sleek, and with pops of color. So it's usually helpful to kind of add some description of the design as well. Otherwise, it's just going to do its default thing. You can always change the design later as well. So let's go ahead and click create. I'm on the $20 a month plan of Lovable. You definitely are going to need to be on one of the paid plans in order to actually use Lovable and kind of get beyond just a few prompts. So you can definitely try it out for free, but in order to build kind of a more fully functioning app like this, you will need to pay for Lovable. I have a link below in the description. It's an affiliate link, so we do make a small commission if you click the link in the description and end up purchasing. You also can just go to lovable.dev, take it around that affiliate fee if you'd like. We create these videos on YouTube for free, so we really appreciate any support that you can do. So if you do end up clicking that link and purchasing a subscription to Lovable, we really appreciate it. Okay, so right off the bat on the left side, Lovable is going to tell you what it's going to be doing. So it essentially creates a project plan. It's creating some design inspiration, the features for the first version, and some style elements. So because it says, since I mentioned login functionality, I recommend integrating Supabase for authentication and database. So it's saying we can add authentication later, which makes sense. And we will do that later on in this video. Okay, so here we go. It's created a basic recipe tracking page. Something that I like about Lovable is that it adds by default placeholder elements. So instead of just having everything blank, they've added images. Obviously, they're not images of food, but then they also added text, which I like. And then up here on the top of Lovable, you can see the different pages that are created, and you can click into recipe detail or index. So if we click on one of these, now you can see we're on kind of the recipe detail page, recipe/ID. And it's also designed this page with the image, the category, and then all of kind of the important things for a recipe, such as instructions, ingredients, etc. So let's go back to recipes here. So why don't we next add Supabase. So on the top right, you just go ahead and click Supabase. If you don't have a Supabase account, it's really easy to create one. You just create a Supabase account, and then there's going to be a button here to essentially connect and link Lovable to your Supabase account. So I already did that. And then here I already created an active project. So you just create a new project. You're going to go through the steps, just add a password. It's pretty simple to get through that process. You can only have 2 free projects on Supabase's free plan. I'm on their free plan. So you don't have to worry about upgrading for now for Supabase. And Supabase basically is a backend, so we can save information to a database and also add authentication, which means the ability for users to log in and log out. So let's click Lovable Chat App. That is the test database that I created. I was originally going to create a chat app, but you can name it anything you want. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to click Connect. So now on the left side, it says, please connect my project to the Lovable Chat app. So this is something Lovable does a really good job at that I really like, is that it's going to automatically do the connection for us. So it's not going to make us go in and write any SQL queries or do that directly in Supabase. It's going to do all of that for you. So I'm going to pause the video and come back once it's finished. Okay, so now on the left side, it says that the app is connected to Supabase, and it tells us what we can do. Like I mentioned, user accounts, store and use real data. And also something I didn't mention is you can add something called edge functions. Edge functions allow you to add things like email notifications, payments. You can add AI API connections, so API connections to add other functionality to your app. So that's something else that Supabase allows for. So let's say now, please, let's set up authentication and sign in, login. So let's go ahead and add that to our app. Okay, so what Lovable does is they essentially create the SQL command. SQL is essentially a coding language for databases. If you don't understand this code, don't worry. Just hit apply, and worst case, you can ask it to update it in the future if something's not working correctly. So I'm going to say okay, and then it's going to say I reviewed it, and then the migration has been applied. Migration means it essentially ran this code. So let me pause the video as it kind of builds out the authentication UI, and I'll come back once it's done. Okay, and something that's pretty cool is here in Lovable, they have this link. So what it says is auth settings, you may want to disable email confirmation for testing. And then if you click that link, it takes you right into your project. I really like this integration that they have. So what I'm going to do is click on email, uncheck confirm email, and then hit save. Now, the reason to do that for testing is otherwise we would have to set up emails to actually go out and do all of that correctly, which I don't want to deal with that right now for testing. So that's why they recommend it. And I like that they have that button to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to say, sounds good. Let's proceed. I also already disabled email confirmation for testing. So let's see what it says here. Okay, so it says it's created a new authentication page for login and sign up. And let's see, we got build unsuccessful. So it looks like I can just click try to fix this on the top. And what's nice is when you click these kind of buttons, what Lovable will do is they'll still add a chat, but it essentially is just saying, I got this error, think step by step, and then it'll kind of show the error. Okay, great. So it sees the error. Now it's fixing it. Okay, cool. So, okay, there we go. The error must have had to do with the theming and the design. So we have kind of our authentication page, index page, and recipe page. So if we go to the auth page, we have email, password. Now, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think that we have Google these authentications set up. That's something we could ask it to do. But for now, let's just test it with email address. So I'm going to enter in my email, a password. Now let's see what happens if we click sign in. Okay, it's not working. There's an error. We probably would want to have a better error message, but let's go to sign up and see if that works. Let me just refresh and try one more time to see if that solves it. So I'll go to sign up and let's hit sign up here. Okay, so there's an error. Let's show the logs. Okay, so this is what we can do. So if there's an error, we're going to get to the logs. We're going to copy this. It says that the API we're communicating is not working with properly. Let's see. Let's say I'm getting an error when trying to log in. Here's the logs. So I'm going to give it the logs, and then I'm also going to copy the error message. So this is, sometimes it's not going to give you that one button to fix it. And this is how you want to debug. You just want to make sure you're giving the AI as much information as possible that you have about the error. Here is the error message I get to sign up. I get after entering an email and password and clicking sign up. Here's the logs. Okay, so let's see if it's able to use that information to actually solve this issue for us. Okay, so it looks like it thinks that it has an issue with the way it set up the database. And this is what I've kind of talked about before, where sometimes if the SQL is wrong or there's an error, it's just going to figure it out later. So let's say we're going to apply changes. And it says that it was applied successfully. So let's see if that solves the issue. So it says it's going to work now. Let's see. Actually, I should go to sign up. Sign up. Awesome. Okay, cool. So it did. It worked. And this is what I mean by debugging and going back and forth with the code, with the AI, and kind of giving it all the information that it needs. So now I'm logged in. Very cool. So we added that. So now let's say I want the ability to add recipes and save them to the database. I want recipes to be either public or private to the logged in user. Okay, so let's see if it can add this functionality for us now. Okay, so again, since we're asking to create something and save it to the database, it's going to ask us to create these tables in the database. So I'm going to click apply changes so that we can actually save, and you can see the fields it is going to save. So we have like recipe title, description, ingredients, instructions, etc. Okay, migration has been applied, and now it's going to go ahead and proceed. So it's saying, I can proceed with implementing the UI. Would you like me to add a form to add new recipes, a display of existing recipes, toggle between public, private, the ability to edit, delete recipes? I'm going to say, please implement all features you described. Okay, so let's see what it comes up with here. All right, so it says that there is an error. So let's go ahead and just click try to fix, and let's see if it's able to solve it. Okay, cool. So let's see if it works. I'm going to go ahead and click add recipe. So let's say we want to create pizza. This is the pizza description, ingredients. So let's just say dough and sauce. Just make it really simple to start. I like how it does that, and you can delete ingredients as well. Instructions. This is where you would put instructions in. Cooking time, 30 minutes. Category, Italian. Interesting that it's just a text element here. Make it public, which I can click, and then image URL. Interesting that it did that instead of uploading, but let's find an image online of pizza for now. All right, so I found an image on Unsplash, and I'm going to paste it in here. And let's say create recipe. All right, awesome. It says recipe created successfully, and here we go. So we have it. The category was created as well, and I like how it has this kind of animation. And if we click into it, interesting. So if we click into it, it does say pizza, but I think this was its sample recipe. So let me say, okay, the recipe was created, but when I click into it, it's not showing the details of the recipe that I created. So let's see if it's able to solve that. Okay, cool. And it said it found the exact issue, which is that we're using mock data instead of real data from Supabase, which is exactly what I thought. So if we click on it, there we go. It loads, and now we have pizza, the pizza description, dough, sauce, instructions. Awesome. So it is working correctly. Let's add one more. Let's say we want to add hot dog. Hot dogs are great. All right, hot dog, and we're going to add bun. Just really simple. Obviously, you can add in a lot more if you'd wanted. Something that you could do, which I think could be kind of fun to do in the future, is use AI to have it just generate recipes and come up with recipes. So it could come up with a title, come up with descriptions. It could do all of this essentially for you and create kind of AI generated recipes, which I think would be pretty cool. All right, instructions. I'm going to say put the hot dog on the bun. Cooking time, 30 minutes. Category, let's say American. And then image URL. Let me just get another image here. I have a hot dog. Copy image address. Paste that in. And then I'm also going to make it public. So let's create recipe. Cool. All right, so now we have hot dog and pizza. Very cool. That's awesome. All right, and I want to see what happens here if I log out. So if I log out, can I go to the index page? So I'm going to say, please make it so I can view the index page logged out and view the public recipes. So I only want to, I still want people to be able to log in, but I don't want it to be fully private. I want on the index page to actually view the recipes. Okay, so it's going to have to change the authentication of the database. So I'm going to click OK so that logged out users can view the public recipes. And let's see what it does next. So now it says that the index page is accessible. So let's go to the index page where I'm logged out. Let me click log out. Interesting. Okay, so I am logged out, but it still says log out here on the top right. But it seems to be working where I can view it now while I'm logged out. And these are public recipes. If they were private, then they wouldn't be able to be seen. So I'm going to say make sure the log out button on the top right of the index page says log in if you are currently logged out. And clicking the add recipe button should also prompt the user to log in if logged out, or sign up. Okay. So if I click add recipe, yeah, so it's letting me do it even though I'm logged out. So I'm going to add that as well. The reason it is built that way is when this index page was first generated, we didn't have this concept of a logged out user on the index page. So it's going to update this to handle that new functionality. All right, cool. So now if I click add recipe, it'll put us to the login page again. And for login, same thing. Okay, perfect. So that's working really great. So one more thing we need to change is that if we click into the recipe and it's public, we should be able to see that page as well. So I'm going to say if the recipe is public, the recipe detail page should also be accessible to logged out users. So let's have it build in that functionality as well. Okay, so it says it solved that, so we're logged out. If we click on these public recipes, now we can see them even though we're logged out, which is awesome. I also like how Lovable had kind of a quick loading icon, which you can't see now. Maybe if I refresh. Yeah, you can see a little bit of a loading icon. I just like how they add in those touches here. So the last thing I'm going to show you how to do is publish the app. So Lovable makes this really easy. We just go up to the top, click publish, and we're going to click deploy. So it's just going to load, it's going to deploy the app, and it's going to create it on its own Lovable subdomain by default. You can see right here. And this means anyone on the internet can go to this link and actually view the app. So I can click it. Now I am actually on a different page. I'm not inside of Lovable. And here we go. We have our recipe app that can be used anywhere on the internet. Anyone can use it. Now, if you want, you can deploy it with a custom domain that Lovable supports that as well, meaning you can have your own URL such as myrecipes.com, and it could be connected here. One more thing I want to note, which is helpful to know with Lovable, is if you want to actually edit the code, you have to transfer it to GitHub and edit your code there. So you would have to click transfer repository. Otherwise, you can't directly edit the code here. But if you connect it to GitHub, which is pretty easy to do, you just click this, follow the instructions, then you can make changes in GitHub and then push those changes here to Lovable. So if you want access to the code with Lovable, you have to do it that way, as opposed to tools like Bolt let you edit the code directly in the editor here. One more thing I want to note is it's on the top left, we have our history. These are all the updates we've made so far. We've made 11 updates. If you want to roll back to any previous version, it's very easy. You just click on it and then you click restore. So if you ever kind of run into an error, it's not working, you made a mistake, you want to go back, Lovable makes it very easy to do that. So if you made it this far, we've built an app with user authentication. We connected it to a database. We published it. There is different visibility settings based on the logged in or logged out state of the user. And we have real functionality where you can upload recipes to the app, either privately or publicly. So there's obviously a lot more that you could build onto this. The limits is really just your imagination and creativity. But I hope that you found this helpful and you're ready now to start building your own Lovable apps. Be sure to check the links in the description if you want to learn more about AI coding, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get future videos like this for free here right on YouTube. Leave a comment if you have any questions at all, and I'll see you in the next video.